Hello and welcome to a brand new podcast with me, Harvo, or Harvey Wood, or whatever you want to call me. You can call me anything you like. This is the new podcast, but basically I press record on the microphone, and anything can be said, done. I've wanted to do this because I have a blog called the Waffle blog where I just write anything. You know, I'm very keen. I want to get into writing and stuff like that. And my therapist says I'm in therapy at the moment, and it's a good way to express yourself and just sit there and just talk into a microphone, not in like a YouTubey vloggy way where I have the camera and I have to sit there and edit the jump cuts and all that. I can just sit here and talk nonsense about whatever. There could be film reviews, anything and everything. This is just something for everyone. We could talk about mental health. I hope to have guests. I may even have a co-host in the future. That's why it's just called the Waffle Podcast. It's not called the Waffle Podcast with Harvo or Harvey or whatever. I know, if anyone who doesn't know, I actually have another podcast called the Real Talk Podcast, which I co-host with Sam. We're on a break with that at the moment, just for practicality reasons. He lives in Colchester. I live in Fareham, which is the other side of the country to each other, and so we did it over Zoom, and we just kind of got bored of it. But we hope to do more in the future and chat nonsense. So yes, the plans for upload is I want to do this weekly. I want to do this as a weekly new podcast where, you know, I can talk a bit about topical things that are going on in the world, where I can joke about them or just discuss them and my thoughts on them, blah, blah, blah. That's basically what I was thinking. I say that, I will never commit to that, so it's just, at the moment it's just going to be whatever. I might go for the first, while we start off once a month, or whatever. You're just going to get it whatever. But welcome to the show, and I hope you're well. So for anyone who doesn't know, I currently have COVID. Not too bad. I admit, this is the first time I've had COVID through the whole pandemic, and we're 3 years in. The day I'm recording this is the 6th of April. And I will admit, and if there is no disrespect here to anyone who was severely affected by COVID in any way, shape or form, I did sit there and think 3 years, and I had no symptoms, I should add. Nothing. I had a little tickle in my throat. That was it. That's why I got the test. I had a very bad migraine. I get migraines anyway, and that's basically it. I just had a migraine, and then I woke up one morning with a sore throat, and did a test, and it was positive. It's kind of it. I did a test today, just because, you know, I'm feeling a lot better than I was, and on it is the line is so unbelievably faint. You can only see it in certain lights, but it is there. And I just had an argument with the mother about, you know, is it really there? And it is. So I'm going to do another test tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be cured because I'm meant to be working tomorrow. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of a life thing. But we think I've torn something in my chest, because I literally am struggling to breathe because I'm in a lot of pain. I don't know. I think I've torn something. I thought it was indigestion at first, but I took indigestion tablets and it wasn't making a difference. It actually made it worse. So we think I've torn something. Now, a normal common sense thing to do, what a lot of people should do, is by going to the doctors. Now, the problem with my doctors is you have to, their waiting times are ridiculous. They're like a month away. So my assumption is, this is, I think, how they regulate it. If you're dying of an illness, or you've got an illness that's very, very bad, you have to plan a week before getting it, to say, no, I might be dying next week. I need a doctor's appointment, or my leg is going to fall off in 1 week. I need to book a doctor's appointment. That's how it works. So I'm just going to have to put up with the pain. Now, the pain is unbearable. If I breathe in, it hurts. If I lie on it, and before anyone said, well, just don't lie on it, I have to lie down to sleep. I don't know how people, I know like the Elephant Man, he used to sleep sitting up. I'm not the Elephant Man. So there you go. Yeah, that basically, yeah, I've just compared myself to the Elephant Man. Weird. Anyway, so welcome to the show. We're 5 minutes in, and I've compared myself to the Elephant Man, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the world. So what's going on in the world at the moment? There is, you may have heard of this. I don't know if you've heard this. Well done. Is Will Smith hit Chris Rock in the face at the Oscars. I don't know if you've heard this. I'm surprised there hasn't been memes all over the place about this. No, my God, they're everywhere. What on earth? I get the point. He hit him right. My understanding of it is he spoke about Will Smith's. I haven't done so much research into this. Will Smith's wife, who I believe has alopecia, which, long story short, it causes hair loss. And Chris Rock apparently joked about it. And I have watched the clip. I'm not that intelligent, so I couldn't figure out if it was... I couldn't really figure out the joke. And that's basically what I'm trying to say. And basically, Will Smith's wife, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, didn't laugh. Will Smith did laugh. Will Smith saw that she wasn't laughing and reacted in the way he did. Now, good on it. I'd say good on him, but I'm not on his side. I don't think violence in any... I'm one of the people that violence in any way, shape or form there is no excuse for, and stuff like that, so he shouldn't have done that. Maybe he could have commented afterwards. That probably would have been a bit better. Bless him. Apparently he's withdrawn from the academy, or something like that. I don't know the full story. I'm not going to research into it because I really honestly couldn't care. I'm not a big fan of some celebrities like Love Islanders. My God, I want to punch them all in the face. I know I just literally just said I don't condone violence in any way, shape or form, but they just seem like they just need a punch in the face to do something, because I just can't stand them. I remember they just want to be famous, and they do anything at any costs. I watched about 30 seconds of it, and I wanted to vomit blood. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Oh God! I'm in so much pain. It's unbearable. It is ridiculous. Anyway, so I will also say that I want to make this show interactive. So if you would like to interact with us, you can contact me at contact@harvoentertainment.co.uk, and you can email in suggestions or just things you want me to talk about, and hopefully I'll talk about them. And I'll also, I may even come up with something for you to tell us a story or something in the future. So that'll be something quite exciting. So this is the Waffle Podcast. We're nearly 10 minutes in, and I still feel like we've started this show, which is very fun. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I'm in a lot of pain right now. But yes, so the reason this podcast is happening, I did briefly mention earlier, but the reason this podcast is a thing is, as many of you will know, I have very severe mental health issues. And my therapist has recommended that when I say open up a bit more, I am basically an open book, but expressing thoughts and stuff like that is basically what I want to do, what I need to do. So I have a blog, which is the Waffle, Harvo's Waffle blog, I think it's called, which has got anything and everything, where I just write whatever. And this is a contributing podcast to go with it, where I just sit here and talk. I'm hoping to have guests and maybe co-hosts, as I said, in the future, which is fun. So that's basically the podcast. That's my plan of what I want to do. And yes, so do email in your suggestions for things you want to see. So updates in life. I got a theme tune made for my show. Now, it's not the theme tune for this podcast. I didn't want to use the theme tune for this podcast, but I do have my own theme tune, which you're going to hear a brief clip of it now. Ew. There you go. There's the brief clip. That was fun, wasn't it? You like that? That was really good. Yeah, the music I'm using at the moment, I bought the rights to use in the Real Talk podcast, and because the rights to the music cost so much, I use it in a lot of my material now. I use it for a lot of media content, which is obviously, you may recognise the theme tune. Yeah, it's good. It costs, yeah, whatever. But this is the music. This is the show. This is what you've got to put up with. This is what you've got to see. Anyway, what can I talk about? What can we talk about? I really should have written stuff down. I need to do that. Yes, I was talking about while we're doing the podcast. So yeah, like I said, I had mental health issues, and I needed to talk more and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing this podcast, and which is really really good fun. And I'm really really excited to see where this goes. I'd love to have an audience. Live audience. Well, that would be lovely. Maybe a special edition we could do in front of a live audience. That would be good fun. And just to talk utter nonsense is great. But yeah, that's something I'm very, very excited for. So yeah, so we've spoken about that. Yeah. So mental health, I've had, let me just a brief rough history. This is where it gets depressing. So anyway, yeah, basically I had an identity crisis a couple of years ago where I thought I was transgender because the reason it came up was because for anyone who doesn't know, if you don't know, well, I think you're listening to it on this, listen to this podcast through that. Basically I did 2 makeup videos and they made me go into I had a bit of a dilemma, mental dilemma after them. And stuff like that. And I have a lot of people. That's why I'm very supportive. Obviously, would be supportive anyway, but I'm very very supportive of people who are transgender and stuff like that. And I'm very protective of them because as much as I wouldn't call myself a spokesperson, I had a sneak preview and it wasn't the nicest thing in the world. I can't imagine, thinking I'm not who I am on the surface. It's a weird, I can't imagine it, the hell they go through. And like I said, I had a sneak preview and I didn't like it. So yeah. Moving on, let's talk about something very funny and very silly. Like I said, I have COVID. Oh, I'll tell you what we can talk about. That is on the verge of mental health. Now, I'm autistic, so I get really nervous in day-to-day situations. I say I don't know how humans work, which is completely true. And recently, when I say recently, I mean back in January, I challenged myself to do something. I went to see Ben Hart live. Ben Hart is a magician. He was on Britain's Got Talent. He's also a magic consultant for the West End and does so many cool things. And absolutely brilliant magician. And I went to see him live. And I had to go to Winchester, which is quite a trek away from me. And I had to get the train. Now, I get quite nervous on trains. That's solely because I don't normally use them. So I kind of challenged myself to do it and go on the train. And get to Winchester. And I was so nervous to get there. I was constantly going up to the station, I think it's the station master, and going, what train do I get on? And I remember they said, this train stops at da-da-da-da-da, but it didn't say Winchester, so I got off and said, are you sure this goes off at Winchester? And yeah, it's absolutely fine. It goes there plus Winchester. It just hasn't said, it hasn't probably updated. And it did go to Winchester. I got to Winchester, and yeah, and I was very, very nervous. I didn't even eat or drink. It was it was a very nerve-wracking day, that was. I was very proud afterwards. I got home and I went, oh my god, look what I did. But yeah, I was kind of jittery for the whole thing. The show itself was amazing. It's called Wonder, and it's about the wonderment of magic. There's more to it than that. And I would say I urge everyone to go and watch it. But I urge everyone to go see Ben Hart, mainly because the show is finished now. I believe it's going up into the Edinburgh Festival. I think it's benhartmagic.co.uk or .com. Look him up on the internet, do research that. And it was, honestly, I was really proud. And I watched it. Anyway, yeah, right 10 minutes into the first half, he chopped the top of his finger off, the tip of his finger off, bless him, doing a trick. Because, it was, I won't tell you the trick, but he chipped the top of his finger off and had to stop the show. But I will say he was a proper showman. He, at first, when he cut his finger, he thought, well, I'm going to have to go put a plaster on, and went off stage. And I'm sitting there thinking, is this part of the show? Is this part? For the whole time, I was like, oh, this has got to be part of the show, hasn't it? This has got to be part of the show. And it wasn't, but he went off stage, still talking to the audience while he was going into the first aid kit, and we were all still questioning that as part of the show. And he told jokes, kept talking to the audience, even though there's no one's on stage, and he just had to, yeah. And then he went, you know what? Can I just take 5 minutes while we just go and fix this? And then And then he fixed it, and then they carried on the show like nothing ever happened. Although someone came on, he came on stage and someone just heckled. It was an old man, who I think he had a carer in a wheelchair, so I don't know. He was physically disabled, so I don't know. Yeah, whatever. He just heckled and shouted to Ben, "How's your finger?" And Ben just stared at them for like what was like an eternity, and just went, "Shall we make the show about my effing finger?" I will say this podcast will not be family friendly. I should have mentioned that, but I'm going to try and censor myself as much as I can, but I can't promise anything, because I want to discuss and talk and yes, I want to be able to be open and free. And stuff like that. But I'm not going to be like, "Oh no, I don't want to offend anyone." If I do offend anyone, I apologise. I apologise now, but I will say it's an honour to do certain things and blah blah blah. Anyway, so what else can we talk about? I don't know what else to talk about. So I'll talk about myself. That'll be good for people who don't know. My name's Harvey Wood, also known my stage name is Harvo. I'm a comedy magician, puppeteer, and clown. I specialise with puppetry with Punch and Judy. As a magician, I specify comedy magic. I say magician now. It was actually after Ben Hart's show, going back to Ben Hart, after Ben Hart's show, I was proud to call myself a magician, because I didn't call myself a magician, I just called myself an entertainer. I never dubbed myself a magician. I remember afterwards thinking, no, I'm proud to say I am a magician. That was a proud moment, and that's what I wanted to do. Anyway, yes, and I say clown. As much as I don't put the makeup on, I don't wear a really silly costume, in my opinion. And I say I follow the rules of the clown, because I love physical comedy, and I use physicality and mime and pantomime in my routines, because it's just, I'm a big fan of Mr. Bean and all that, so I try and follow. I sit there and say, instead of going, how will the trick sound, how will this trick be funny, I don't just go think that. I think with the look, what I say and everything. So I say I follow the rules of a clown rather than a comedian, but they're very similar in many ways anyway, which is really good fun. Yes, as I said, I'm a puppeteer. I specify Punch and Judy. I've been doing that for years. 2003. Next year, in fact, 2023. What year are we in? We're 2022, aren't we? In 2023, will be my 20 years in show business. Now, it's 20 years since I started. Professionally, it's going to be about 10 years. But I say the longest just because it sounds better. So 20 years next year. And I'm sitting there thinking, do I do something? Do I do something to celebrate? I don't know what. There we go. That's something we can email in. What should I do for my 20th anniversary? So contact at harvoentertainment.co.uk and leave some suggestions, and also leave your comments and things you want me to discuss, which is something, which is cool. Also, I will also just, another thing to add about this podcast, this is the first episode, so this is just me waffling on about what I want to do with the podcast. I don't know how long episodes are going to be, because it is very improv-y, and I literally press record and then we see what happens. I will say, episodes can be they can be a couple of hours. It's a couple of hours, that's probably pushing it, but it could be an hour to 20 minutes, to 20 to 40 minutes, whatever. I don't know how long this episode is going to be. This is the first episode. So I will say it will vary in length. That's what she said. Yes. What else can we discuss? What else can we talk about? Yes, I was talking about me. I also have a YouTube channel, which I make a lot of documentaries and films. In fact, I made a documentary during lockdown, and I want to talk about this. A ghost hunting documentary where I went around a ghost hunt on my home, which a load of ghost hunters will say, no, don't do. Now, I don't believe in ghosts, and I say that in every documentary because I always worry about getting comments saying, oh, ghosts aren't real, this is so fake, blah, blah, blah. And I went, no, I don't believe in ghosts either. It's nice to do a ghost hunting program or ghost hunting thing from the perspective of a skeptic rather than from the perspective of a believer. And And that's what I really enjoy about it. So I did this research and I took a photo to promote it with me with a Ouija board. And I got so many negative comments saying, oh, you shouldn't mess with a Ouija board. Shouldn't do this. Shouldn't do this. I got messages. I had threats to close down the channel. I had threats. People were going to call the police. It was hilarious. It wound up the right people. And I said, oh, I've done the research. And then when you clearly haven't, or you wouldn't be using it. And I can tell you this, the Ouija board isn't a talking to demons thing. It isn't this opening a gateway to hell. It's a block of wood, for goodness sake. In fact, the research I've done, and I don't know 100% if this is, well, to me, I think it is believable. The way it's moving is your subconscious moves what's called a planchette, and it moves it, or the glass or whatever, moves the planchette, and you move the glass. It's your subconscious moving it, and stuff like that. And what was I saying? In the very early days, it was actually a medical device, so you can talk to your inner thoughts and your subconscious. You can actually have a conversation with them. And so it was medical advice. I've no idea where the paranormal idea came from. In fact, actually, on that note, there was an experiment. I don't know, I can't remember too many details, but they had a load of people around on a Ouija board, put their hands on the planchette or the glass, but they didn't look at the Ouija board. They all looked away, and it just spelt gobbledygook, which kind of solidifies that point and proves that point that it is a load of nonsense. It's your subconscious moving it. Now, I'm not denying it doesn't move. Like I said, I'm not denying it doesn't move. As much as every single time I've done it, it's never moved. Admittedly, I've done it, and I have felt the want to push it, and the that urge is there. I'm not gonna finish that joke. To push it, and which is something, quite cool. Yeah, so that's one thing. So that's Ouija boards and stuff like that. And it annoyed the right people. I don't use Ouija boards in the documentaries I've done anymore because of I basically did a video called "Let's Talk About Ouija Boards," which you can, if you want to watch, they go into a bit more detail. Basically, where I went, no, I did the research. Because when I said I did your research, everyone went, you clearly didn't. I went, no, I did the research. And this is me basically saying in this video, in the Let's Talk About Ouija Boards video, this is the research I did. And I'm here to tell you, I did the research. Yes, which was just ridiculous. I went to see Uncharted with Tom Holland. What a good movie. I see this movie being a series, being a film series. I will admit it could have been a bit more, when I say creative, it was very creative. I felt like it was lacking something, it was missing something, but it was very, very good. Tom Holland is a very good Nathan Drake. I'm not a big gamer. I'm not a gaming person. But I've seen gameplay, and I do admit Mark Wahlberg, they need, I don't know, maybe a prosthetic just to make him look a bit older, because it's set before the games or something like that. Which is something. And then what else? And then I also saw Spiral from the Book of Saw, which is a movie. It's a spin-off, and it is clearly a spin-off to the Saw films. And it's, but it was lacking something. It was good for what it was. It's a good new. I can't wait to see where they go with it. But I admit it is lacking something. It didn't. Basically, with a Saw film, and I'm a big fan of Saw film. I've watched all the Saw films. I love the Saw films. Basically, they have two stories, which is the trap plot and the cop plot. There wasn't really a trap plot. It was like, oh, here's a trap. Okay, now we'll go back to that. And the cop plot was the main thing. Yeah, and I just thought it was weird. Wow, that is two different films, Uncharted and the Spiral from Book of Saw. But yeah, I loved the ending as well. The string puppet kind of thing, and so that's one thing to talk about. That's a little quick movie review. I don't really watch movies that much anyway, so they're going to be rare. Anyway, so I'm going to go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Like I said, contact at harlowentertainment.co.uk so you can talk about stuff. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying? No, so you can talk to me. What you want me to talk about, that was it. Email contact@harveyentertainment.co.uk and tell me what you want me to talk about in future episodes. And also, what I said earlier. What should I do something for my 20th anniversary, and what should that be? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this show. I will see you whenever, and hopefully there'll be more podcasts to come. I say that, and this is probably the only episode. Thank you, and goodbye.